Hello, I'm Miah Grace in case you don't know, and there's really only one thing from the Met Gala that I want to talk about, and it's this sweater. I don't know why, but this has been like burnt into my head since the Met Gala. I'm not really one for keeping up with the Kardashians, literally in this case. Kim, who owns Skims, she wore this sweater that is covered in pills. Like, it looks like it was washed and then it just immediately started falling apart, which is a huge problem with fast fashion. You know, it's like one of the main complaints that people have. And if I put my conspiracy theory hat on, I think that there's a mild chance that that might be why Kim is wearing this sweater, to normalize pills as just like a part of fashion now, right? Because you look up the reviews for her brand and all of the negative reviews, like most of the ones that I found at least, involve pilling. And the defenses of her brand talk about how pilling is actually normal. And it is, but we'll get to that. Here's my thesis. I think that Kim Kardashian put this gorgeous, gorgeous gown with this ratty, pilled up sweater that we currently would perceive as looking cheap and badly manufactured, so that she could elevate pilled up fabric and make it not as controversial. I think that might have been part of her goal. Or it was done to humble herself and kind of show like, hey, I'm just a person. I stole my boyfriend's sweater. Maybe it was both. I don't know. But I will say that things that communicate class stance when it comes to fashion, we decide whether or not those look bad based on our perception of them, right? At one point, linen fabric meant that you were probably kind of cheap, like wearing bleached or neutral toned linen fabric. We would think Victorian orphan child with no shoes. Until very recently, whenever natural, kind of unbleached linen fabric became like this big trend. All these celebrities are doing it, and now we see it as like super luxe and fancy. But if you can make the byproducts of poorly planned out textiles cool and bougie by putting them on the Met Gala red carpet, you know, now you don't have to change your modal so that it doesn't pill anymore. I don't know. I think I'm on to something. But we can take the conspiracy theory hat off and let's actually talk about pilling for a second, and like what causes it, how to prevent it, and if it actually means that a garment is badly constructed. I figured I'd give you all the celebrity gossip in like one lump instead of spreading it through the whole video to try to gain retention. I'm not gonna play you like that. If you only cared about the Kim Kardashian thing, I'm done talking about it now. That was it. But now we're gonna learn things, so stick around. So people in general think of pilling as an indication of low quality on the garment. And honestly, until I did more research, I did too. And I will say that lower quality garments do pill faster. But pilling really just happens whenever fibers work their way out of the weave and then tangle with other fibers. It's really just a tangle on the microscopic level. And whenever you look at it up close, you can kind of tell this is just a little tangle of stuff, and you can rip them right off the fabric. So whenever it comes to fabric, the longer the fiber length is, the less likely it is to pill. Also, the less hydrophobic the fiber is, the less likely it is to pill. So whenever those little fibers work their way up and then find another friend, do a little dance with, and get tangled, if they're hydrophobic, the water is going to push them in towards each other and they're going to cling to each other. And that static cling that brings them to each other is something that you could notice in the store. If you pick up a fabric and you kind of touch it and rub it in your hands and you can feel that it's really clingy, first off, it's going to cling to your body. And some people don't like that particular aesthetic, but also whenever you're washing it, it's going to be more likely to pill. This looks particularly bad with cheaper satins, like some dinosaur silk poly satin fabrics will get pills, and that doesn't look great. It starts to look very cheap. I think that the evening gowns sold by Windsor are really notorious for getting little pills and snags on the rack even, and that's what's happening there. The fibers find each other and they tangle up with each other because they are static clinging to each other. Also, acrylic fabric, like acrylic sweaters, those pill really, really badly. They feel super soft, but they pill really badly. If you're thrifting and you find an acrylic sweater, it might not be worth your time. Also, acrylic and hydrophobic staticky fabrics, like we've been talking about, will pull other things to them, like cat hair and fibers from other garments. So if you don't want to have a bunch of like fuzzies on yourself that you need to lint roll off, that also might be worth avoiding. Viscose and rayon, while they are kind of problematic with the way that they are manufactured, there's a lot of weird byproducts. Once they're in fabric form, they're actually pretty great. They don't feel like a plastic film the same way that dinosaur silk and other like plastic fabrics tend to. They are synthetic still, but they have a very natural looking drape to them. They still kind of look and feel and act like fabric should in a lot of ways. A lot of the things that you notice when you look at a beginner sewist's clothing is a byproduct of polyester fabric being difficult to work with. But that's a whole nother video, so let's stay on topic. My point really with talking about viscose and rayon is that synthetic isn't the enemy here. The enemy is plastic fabric, and no one likes plastic fabric except for the people making money off of it. So like, I really don't need to talk to you about the problems with it. Honestly though, this is why I source so much fabric from dead stock and from thrifting it and from getting it secondhand, because I really do like viscose and rayon, but the production process is not good for the environment. So once it's around, we just need to like really preserve it. If you are a thrift queen like me, you've probably found a garment or two that has a bunch of pills on it and you're just very upset because pills can make things look just a little bit not new, you know? And to a certain degree, humans do like shiny new things. So there is a way to take the pills off of fabric. One of those ways is to sit there and literally pull them off. I used to do that a lot with my clothing, but also you can use a sweater stone. I didn't know that these were a thing until college, I want to say. We had one in the theater department and it was great. We would run it over the inside of legs on our wool pants. There are also sweater shavers, and some people will use razors to remove pills. I wouldn't recommend this because even if you use a very, very light touch, you are still kind of like scraping the fibers as they're still woven into yarn form or thread form. And whenever you scrape at them, you weaken them, and then you're more likely to get a hole. But I'll have a video linked down below that has a tutorial of someone using a sweater stone on something that needs to be revived. And like, watching her work, it's like magic. I would have seen the sweater she started with and thought that it was a complete lost cause. To a certain degree, whenever you do use a sweater stone, you're still damaging the fabric just a little bit. So the best way to not have pills on your clothes is to prevent pills. How do you prevent pills though? I'm really glad you asked, little YouTuber friend. First off, don't overstuff your washer. If you're putting like a whole tub of clothes in your washer at once, all of your clothes are gonna rub up against themselves and each other, and you're gonna get a little bit of a mess. This is what happened to the sweater that eventually became this hat. You can see its texture is very flattened, and that was a heartbreaking incident because I did not mean for this sweater to go into the washer. But now it's a really cute hat, so I can't really complain. As you're stuffing your washer, you might also want to put fabrics of a similar weight together. You know, you don't want your jeans rubbing up against your delicate t-shirts. So I like to put all my heavy duty fabrics in one load. So like my towels, my jeans, if I have like a cotton blanket, t-shirts and other things made out of like a lightweight shirting material, like this shirt that I have on right now and my linen skirt, I would put those in with t-shirts. And then my delicate fabrics, I sometimes do wash those with my t-shirts in a lingerie bag if I'm feeling a little bit risky. But what I also will do sometimes is I will save a bunch of my delicates to wash all together in one go, and I'll put them in a lingerie bag. Now, a lingerie bag is going to protect your garment from brushing up against anything while it's in the machine, but it will still allow the soap and the water and stuff to get through and affect the garment that's inside of it. One thing that you do not want to do is put your delicates in a garment bag and like stuff the garment bag with multiple pieces. Keep it as just one item per garment bag. So if you have a bra and like a nightgown or a slip in a garment bag, those are gonna rub up against each other, and the fibers of their lace might decide to become friends, and now you've just done a little bit of damage to your garment. It's not gonna ruin your garment if you do it one time, but repeated use is going to shorten the lifetime of that garment. Use that information as you will. Another thing that can cause damage to garments, especially if they're made with spandex, is high heat. So what you're going to want to do is dry them on very, very low heat and get them out of the dryer as fast as possible. If it's something that's very, very precious to you, you might want to consider air drying it, because I have taken risks with the dryer in the past and I always get those little like noodle strings of elastic popping out of my fabric, and that is very unfortunate and very heartbreaking and sad. So if you have a garment that's meshy or lacy and has a lot of elastic, I would recommend drying on very low heat or hanging it up to dry and not just forgetting about it. To err is human, it's no big deal. Also, hand washing will prevent pills as well. You can't really hand wash every single t-shirt that you buy, but for some things, you might want to hand wash them to prolong the length of the garment. For example, I'm really cheap and I hate buying fishnets, so I just hand wash them every couple of times that I wear them. What I like to do is I take a big bucket, I put in a little bit of washing soap. You don't really want to use laundry detergent, you want to use like laundry soap or hand washing soap, something that is a little bit antibacterial. You can also use isopropyl alcohol, put that in the water and just really soak it. Sometimes I will pour boiling water on things, like whenever I thrift vintage lingerie, I will pour boiling water on it just to help sanitize it and like really thoroughly sanitize it. Isopropyl alcohol also works miracles. I'll use that as a dry cleaning spray sometimes. For example, whenever I wear my wool clothing, I don't like to wash that very often. So I will spritz the inside of it and like really spritz it and get it nice and drenched with isopropyl alcohol. I like to use 70%. You don't need to dilute it. There's a popular myth that you can use vodka to dry clean your clothes. Some people actually do this, like professional people will do this in the costuming world, and that really should not be done because vodka does not have a very high alcohol content, so it doesn't kill bacteria as effectively. Also, sometimes vodka has sugar in it, and if you're putting sugar on your garment, you're actually feeding the bacteria and you're gonna make it stink worse potentially. And like whenever you get vodka on your clothes, there's always like a lingering smell, whereas isopropyl alcohol just kind of dissipates. I would worry about using vodka because if you walk around smelling like vodka, are people gonna like think things about you? I don't know. I would think things, so just use isopropyl alcohol. It's cheaper too. Like, I don't know why this myth travels around as much as it does. You have hoodies or things with a zipper, like jeans, you want to make sure to zip those up, just so that your zipper doesn't attack anything around it and like flop around and ruin your sweaters. If you have something that has a lot of like chains and spikes and zippers and things, remove anything that can come off. I really like to use detachable chains whenever I do put chains on a garment, just so that as I'm laundering it, the chain doesn't ruin anything in the wash. But if you have a garment that you're really worried about it harming itself or others in the washing machine, you can put it in timeout by putting it in a garment bag so that that way it doesn't have as much room to flop around and potentially damage itself, and it's not gonna smack its friends. Or you can hand wash it. There's options here. So really, at the end of the day, whatever you do to prolong the life of your garment is completely up to you. If you have something that's super sentimental or precious to you, you might want to hand wash it, even if it is a t-shirt. If you have something that you got for $1 from the thrift store that you're pretty sure is kind of fragile, you might want to put it in a garment bag and put it in the washing machine with a small load and lightweight fabrics just to get it washed so you can wear it again, because you know the energy that you have and you know what you're willing to invest in things. I just want to give you the knowledge to make those decisions as informed as possible. I personally find doing laundry to be kind of like meditative and like calming and nice, but I might be weird. So if you hate doing the laundry, you know, it's totally valid to just throw things in a garment bag and throw them in the washer and call it a day. Do you have any laundry tips or tricks? Let me know in the comments down below. I always love to see what other people are doing and what they've come up with. If you liked this video, be sure to like it so that more awesome people like you can see it. If you want some free alternative sewing patterns, those are linked down below in my Ko-fi, and I have a very inclusive size range, and I'm working on a lot of stuff to get out for you guys. I know I've been saying that for months, but I want it to be perfect. I just want it to be perfect before I give it away to you. It's like having a baby. It's not ready to go for its first day of school yet. I gotta keep the baby home a little bit. Anyways, that's all I got. Bye, friends! If I was Kim Kardashian, I would have just skipped the Met Gala altogether. Like, they literally picked the theme to make fun of her. It's already recording because I was just gonna start. Okay. But if you're gonna set it up all nice for me, does it look good? Like, does it look scene early 2000s vibes, or is it just kind of like you don't know how to set up filming equipment? Fancy pants, Rich McGee over here. yank them off, and then I'd have a pile of pills in my hand, and I'd be like, I don't know what to do with these! So I'd stuff them into the waistband of my yoga pants, and then I'd forget about it, and they'd fall everywhere. Heck of a time.
Is it going to be a blooper kiss?
Maybe.